Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Talk del Dia. This is where we're gonna differ from stories, gossip, news, relationship advice, any type of advice. Just thanks again for joining me on my podcast journey, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode. So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about TV shows, books, movies, any relevant shows going on Netflix right now. I know right now Tiger King is really going around and everybody's been asking, hey, have you watched it? Have you watched it? All the memes of that fucking bitch, Carol Baskin, the TikToks with her. I don't know if you guys seen it or not, but it's about this man named Joe Exotic. Well, he gave himself that name. He just has acres of land and has it filled up with tigers, alligators, lions. He's going on this battle with this other lady named Carol Baskin. So this lady Carol Baskin, she's just going on about how he just breeds them and how he shouldn't be breeding them. He just does it to get money. He just does it for the fame. I mean, if you watch the the show on Netflix, you could tell that he loves the fame. He loves being on camera. He tried to run for president. It's actually it's just crazy how I felt like they ended up playing him. At the end of the whole thing, one of his own friends, I believe, ends up almost betraying him. I don't know who's the good guy, the bad guy. It's hard to tell. It's a little confusing. He's in jail now. I'm not sure how much time they gave him, but it was based off of so many. They gave him, I don't know how many charges on different things. It's just big cat breeding. Everything's so bizarre. It's like someone ends up killing themselves in there. Every single character on that film is just how he had them all literally by the balls, because comes out to be this guy had two husbands, and at the end they weren't even gay. They ended up claiming they were straight when clearly they were having relationships with him, or maybe they were just there for the use of drugs. One of them said he was just there for the drugs because he kept him always supplied. Do I recommend it? It's kind of a yes or no. I only recommend it if you want to really understand what people are talking about. But if I recommend it, if it's a good show, I didn't think it was that great of a show. I didn't think it was a good show at all. I just think everything was very confusing. They were just going back and forth. Some of it honestly wasn't fair. The lady Carol Baskin too, she's not much different from Joe Exotic. But hey, if you want to watch it, it is on Netflix. And I think it was one of the top that was trending. I don't know if it's still trending now. I know it's kind of dying down now. But it was trending a couple weeks ago. You're in quarantine mode, so hey, why not? Another good movie to watch, I believe it's on Netflix as well. Alpha Dog, I believe. Come on, who hasn't seen it? If you haven't seen it, it's about a drug dealer. It's just about gangsters kidnapping. It's not really like drug dealer like narcs, but it's more like, hey, somebody owes me some money. He's not paying me back. They start off kidnapping the brother as messing around, and the little game went too far. I believe he owes money to another drug dealer. They end up kidnapping one of the characters' little brother. They end up kidnapping him. They don't really have him hostage. While they're partying, the kid is partying with them. The kid is a 15-year-old, and he's over there smoking weed with them. He's literally playing video games with them, partying with them. He ends up meeting a girl he ends up really liking. At the end, they're supposed to let him go, which it doesn't happen. Honestly, that one, it's a very sad ending. He thinks he's going home. He's like, you guys are cool. You guys are my bros. I'm not even gonna tell my mom that I was kidnapped. I'm just gonna tell her I ran away, because the mom's kind of strict. I'm just gonna tell her I ran away. He's like, I hope we hang out again. And he's all happy. He's all chill. And little does he know they're taking him to mountains. And he's like, what are we doing here? And they tell him, oh, this is where we're going to pick you up. This is where we're meeting your brother or something. And they start hiking, and he sees that one of the guys that was part of the kidnapping, he sees that his eyes are watery. And he just tells him, like, hey, you're my bro. I wouldn't do anything to hurt you. And he's like, why are you, like, closing my eyes and why are you, like, covering my mouth? And he goes, I just have to do this. And, like, the kid agrees to get his eyes covered and his mouth closed. It's just so sad. I don't want to ruin it all. Worst comes to worst, and you guys should just really watch it. It is an old movie. It came out 2007, but if you haven't watched it, that's definitely one to watch. I really recommend it more than Tiger King, actually. Another show to watch on Netflix. I don't know if it's on Netflix still. A long time ago it was on Netflix. I don't know about now, but I used to be hooked. Like a long time ago, I used to be really hooked on the show Lost, but oh my god, let me tell you, the ending, it freaking sucks. Like, they could have done a way better ending. It's a Game of Thrones ending. It disappoints you, it really does. It just doesn't make sense at all. Like, the show is about that a plane crashes, they're all on a plane, it crashes, it lands on an island, and this island is like an island nowhere to be found. They set up the SOS. They start doing fire so helicopters can see them. Obviously, they're never found. So, I don't know if it's a ghost, a black shadow. In the movies, like this black shadow that chases them. It's not really scary, like paranormal. It's more thrill, more intense. On each episode, there's like 20 characters. Each episode, they're kind of showing flashbacks of each character of how they got there and what's their past. So it really gets deep into emotion. Oh my god, when one of the characters died, I believe it was Charlie. If you watch the show, you're familiar with the names of the characters. I believe Charlie, he made me cry so much. What was the other guy's name? Oh, Sawyer. He was a dick, but at the end, I guess it explained why he is how he is. So you ended up kind of feeling bad for the character. Of course, the doctor was hot. He had his own background, his own story. Everybody has a dark past. At the end, it doesn't make sense. I believe it showed they never died in the plane crash. They died previously. But then some did die in the island, which doesn't make sense because if they didn't die in the crash, how did they get to the island? And then some viewers say that they did end up living in the island. It was just so confusing. You guys should watch it. It's like, I don't know how many, it's more than 5 seasons, I believe. So that's something to watch right now in quarantine. I believe it was like 13 episodes per season, if I'm not wrong. Yes, it's a lot of episodes. You be the judge. You see if you understand it. I recommend it. I thought it was a great show. Everybody that I've talked to about this show, they agree that it was a great show. It really had you hooked, but the ending, just expect the worst. For a book, now let's talk about a book. A book that I would recommend if you like thrill is The Cellar. It's by Natasha Preston. I remember she started writing it off on an app called Wattpad. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. It's WATTPAD, Wattpad. And I remember she would always like do little chapters. Like she would do chapter 1, then she would write like a little comment like, oh, my husband thinks it's funny how I come up with these stories. I'll continue it Friday. And then she'll be like, hey guys, been busy. Sorry, because I haven't finished my little story. For her, it was just a little story she was writing. Little did she know that book was going to become New York's bestseller. She writes all kinds of books. Her books are based more off of thrill, romance, I believe, because she did write The Cellar. It's about a man. He kidnaps this couple girls. He gives them flower names. He's like super germophobic. He has super OCD, and I believe he has like mental problems. He beats them. It's just so intense. At the end, one ends up escaping, so the cops come for them, and at the end, they take him to jail. But then there's another book, part 2, which is called You Will Be Mine, which is part 2 of The Cellar. And it's about how he was in jail, how he ended up escaping. He's on the hunt for the girls again, determined that they are his and they will be with him. The girls end up finding out Law enforcement informs the girls that were kidnapped. They get scared. I don't remember if I finished the sequel. I believe I did, but I don't want to give false information on that book. But I remember I did start it and it was pretty interesting. So that's a book if you're not really a TV person, a movie person. I believe it's in book also. The Flowers in the Attic is about how a mom ends up falling in love with the money and she ends up leaving her kids in an attic. They end up growing up to brother and sister. They end up falling in love. And it's just a whole crazy story. They try to live a normal life, but they can't. There's a movie based off of that, of The Flowers in the Attic, part 1, and I believe the movie was on Lifetime. And that was a pretty interesting book. A movie that reminds me of the seller of the book by Natasha Preston is The Cleveland Kidnapping Rescue. It's a Lifetime movie, and this one talks about, it's based on a true story. I will warn you that it's very, very sad. I remember my first 5 minutes of the movie, I just took the movie off. I was like, I can't watch this. I believe it came out 2015. This is a Lifetime movie. This is The Cleveland Abduction. I believe it was with the girl Amanda Berry. She got kidnapped. She was missing for 10 years. Then the man, of course, he ended up kidnapping not only her, it was like 3 girls living together. 1 escaped. They all got out. I don't know if you guys remember. It was on the news. And it was a man on the news saying, oh, this young girl started pounding on the door and she was asking for help. And he was kind of being funny, I guess you could say, sarcastic about it. He had a sense of humor, saying, oh, it was a white girl asking for a black man for help. That doesn't really happen, so I knew she was in trouble. He just said how the man always seemed so normal. He said he was always barbecuing. He would offer them food. The other neighbors said that he had a band. And the girls do talk about it, how the band would just go, they would play. And they were threatened to not make noise. I think one time they did and he almost beat them to death. They just went through so much. That one has very much similarities to the movie The Cellar. So if you watch The Cellar, it's a sequel. You Will Be Mine. And then Flowers in the Attic, which also has a Lifetime movie. And just for a regular Lifetime movie is called The Cleveland Kidnapping. But those are just couple shows, couple movies, couple books I recommend for you guys to watch during this quarantine. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. This was just a little talk of recommendations on what to do with your free time that you guys have right now. And I know it's hard, but stay positive. Start a new hobby, start a new exercise, start a new diet, read a new book. Like I always say, don't take this time and look down on it. Take this time and make something from it. Stay positive, stay safe. Thank you for joining the Talk del Dia and hope you guys return for my next episode. Thanks for all your love. Appreciate it. Bye.